Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. So, have you ever tried to memorize grammar rules from a textbook only to feel like they just bounce right off your brain? Well, today we're doing something incredibly practical and honestly highly effective. We are blending an everyday, get-ready-with-me morning makeup routine with real-world English grammar. By attaching these rules to the physical actions we do every single morning, we're going to make this learning truly stick. I'm absolutely so excited about this one.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap. 1. Initial vocabulary in the future. 2. Continuous actions in the present. 3. Irregular plurals and pairs. 4. Prepositions, in versus on. And 5. Final touches and frequency.
Section 1. Initial vocabulary and the future.
Picture this. You've just woken up, you're standing right there at the mirror, and it's time to prep the skin and pin back your hair. Here is our essential routine vocabulary to get started. Hair clips, moisturizer, and concealer. Notice how incredibly practical these items are. You start by clipping your hair back with these hair clips, plural, of course, because you're usually using more than one. Then you apply your moisturizer to really hydrate the skin, followed by concealer to cover up any dark circles. These simple, everyday items kick off our morning process, and they really form the foundation of our lesson today.
Now, as you reach for that concealer, a super common grammar question naturally pops up. You want to state your very next action. Do you say, I will apply the concealer? Or do you say, I am going to apply the concealer? Like, what exactly is the difference here when we talk about the future?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it completely busts a massive textbook myth. If you dive into traditional grammar books, you're going to find all sorts of rigid, complex rules separating will and going to. But in real, everyday life, native speakers use these future tenses interchangeably all the time. Whether you say, I will apply or I am going to apply, it means the exact same thing to the person listening. So don't stress over the tiny academic details, just pick the one that flows best for you in conversation.
Section 2. Continuous actions in the present.
All right, so we're moving from the future tense to actions that are happening right now at this exact moment. Yep, it's time to apply some blush. There's a fundamental difference between the present simple and the present continuous here. If you say, I apply blush every day, you're talking about a general routine. But when you're actively holding the brush and doing the action in the mirror, you use the present continuous. I am applying blush right now. Notice the structure here? You absolutely must add the verb to be, that's the am, and you must add the ing ending to your action verb, I am applying.
To understand why this structure is so critical, let's look at a highly relatable and honestly hilarious anecdote from our source material. The host talks about her dad, who is learning English. He would walk around the house saying, I eating a lot lately. Notice what's missing there? He totally forgot the verb to be. Without that am, you end up sounding a bit like a caveman. Just saying I applying or I eating simply doesn't work. The I am is the absolutely crucial glue that holds your continuous actions together.
Section 3. Irregular plurals and pairs.
We're at the stage where we're setting our makeup with a loose powder and brushing our teeth, which creates the absolute perfect moment to tackle some tricky plural nouns. English has some stubborn plurals that just flat out refuse to follow the standard add an S rule. I want you to practice saying these out loud with me right now. Ready? 1 tooth becomes multiple teeth. 1 foot becomes multiple feet. 1 woman becomes multiple women. And 1 man becomes multiple men. Linking these examples directly to your vocal repetition is exactly how you commit them to memory for good.
So the crucial point is that alongside irregular plurals, we also have paired nouns in English, like glasses, pants, and shoes. These are always treated as plural. Why? Because they naturally have 2 parts. Glasses have 2 lenses, pants have 2 legs, shoes come in a pair. So you would literally never say, my pants is loose, you have to say my pants are loose. Treat them as plural because of their 2 functional parts.
Section 4. Prepositions. In versus on.
We're moving to the lipstick stage of the makeup routine, which creates a fantastic spatial visualization for 2 of the most commonly confused words in the entire English language. Let's get these clear, concrete definitions mapped out right now. In generally means inside a space or a container. On, however, means on top of a surface. It sounds super simple in theory, but actually mapping it out to physical reality is the key to never mixing them up again.
And this brilliantly illustrates how to apply that rule. When you apply your lip product, the lipstick goes on your lips. It sits on the surface. When you use your hair oil, it might drip on your moisturizer. But your actual makeup products, they are stored in the bag. Your morning water is in the fridge. Anchoring these prepositions to the concrete, physical spaces in your daily routine completely demystifies them.
Section 5. Final touches and frequency.
We're wrapping up the makeup look with some hair oil, which brings us to a really great discussion about how often we actually perform these routines. When describing how often you do something, you can say one time, but native speakers almost always say once. Instead of 2 times, it's just much more natural to say twice. So you might apply hair oil twice a day. But once you hit the number 3, the pattern shifts and you just say 3 times. So the natural progression to keep in mind is once, twice, 3 times.
To wrap up our routine today, I'm throwing in this highly applicable bonus phrase from our source material. It's up to me or it's up to you. This is such a fantastic phrase to express independence in your routine. You decide how much blush to use. You decide what time to wake up. It's up to you. It puts the power of choice right in your hands.
Well, we've covered future tenses, prepositions, tricky plurals, and continuous actions, all through the highly structured lens of a morning makeup routine. Now I want to leave you with a final, provocative question. How would you describe your own morning routine using just one new rule you learned today? Tomorrow morning, when you're looking in the mirror getting ready, I challenge you to apply this directly to your life. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.